Good morning, students. Hope you all are doing well and practicing regularly because, as we all know, practice makes a man perfect. So, if you want to be good at something or achieve success, you have to practice. Always remember that hard work never goes waste, hard work always pays off. So, keeping this in mind, now let's begin with our new topic, which is parajumbles. So, what are parajumbles? The term parajumble refers to a paragraph in which the sentences of the paragraph are jumbled. In these questions, students are given a paragraph, but the sentences are not in the right order. We are required to arrange the sentences in a proper manner such that they link and form a coherent paragraph. So, parajumbles, or you can also say sentence arrangement or jumbled paragraphs, are common test questions at all competitive examinations. Examiner basically wants to assess an examinee's reading skills as well as reasoning prowess through these questions. Fine. So, is it clear? Now, moving on, next is question patterns. So, while creating a jumble, the examiners have four basic question patterns in mind. However, entrance tests are dynamic in nature and the examiners can of course think of other innovative question patterns. But be confident that if you practice on the four basic question types given, then you will be able to develop the general skills to handle other innovative question patterns. So, in pattern 1, there are no fixed sentences. The whole paragraph is jumbled up and the examinee has to unjumble the lot. Clear? Now, in pattern 2, the examiner gives the examinee the first sentence in its proper position and then jumbles the subsequent sentences. Clear? Now, next is pattern 3. It is a variation on pattern 2. In this pattern, the examiner gives the last sentence as an anchor and jumbles the preceding sentences. Fine. Now, next is pattern 4. So, in pattern 4, the examiner gives the examinee the first and the last sentence as anchors and jumbles the sentences in the middle. This type of jumble is considered to be the easiest because the examinee has two fixed points to guide him or her. So, is it clear? Now, moving further, let's discuss how to solve parajumbles. So, most of the information given in parajumbles is unnecessary for the purpose at hand, that is, sorting the sentences. In essence, what we are looking for are things that can help us in connecting the sentences. So, some approaches are given below to help you identify the sequence of sentences. So, these approaches are very important, so keep them in mind. So, our first approach is noun-pronoun relationship approach. So, in noun-pronoun relationships, we know that the noun will come first and will be referred to later using suitable pronouns. So, pronouns like he, she, it, him, her, theirs, etc. are used in place of person, place or thing that has already been introduced in one of the preceding sentences. That is, pronouns can only be used once the subject has been talked about. So, if you find a pronoun in a sentence, generally it is not your opening sentence. Fine. So, is it clear? Now, let us understand this with the help of an example. Write down this example. So, let us say sentence 1, Ajay is a good singer. And your sentence 2 is he has learnt vocal music for 12 years. So, in the above example, sentence 2 contains the pronoun he. Whoever he is should essentially be introduced in one of the preceding sentences, correct? So, sentence 1 introduces a person Ajay. Hence, he mentioned in option 2, or you can say sentence 2 refers to Ajay. Thus, your sentence 1 comes before sentence 2. Clear? So, the correct sequence will be 1, 2. Clear? So, have you guys noted it down? I am erasing it. So, now moving on, our next approach is acronym approach, full form versus short form. So, when we introduce someone or something, we use the complete name or title. When we refer to the same someone or something later in the paragraph, we use just the surname or the first name if we are on familiar terms with the person being discussed. If we are discussing an object, we remove the modifiers and just use the noun or a pronoun to refer to it. So, in para-jumbles, we encounter full and short names or sometimes acronyms of some terms or institutions. For example, World Trade Organization. So, it can also be written as WTO. Clear? And so on. So, the rule is that if both full form as well as short form, that is abbreviation, is present in different sentences, then the sentence containing full form will come before the sentence containing short form. So, is it clear? Now, let us understand this with the help of an example. Write down this example. Sentence 1. The CPU carries out the instructions given by the computer program. Now, another sentence. Sentence 2. The central processing unit bracket CPU is an important part of a computer. Fine. So, now how will you arrange it? Now, let us discuss. In the above example, sentence 1 contains the abbreviation CPU and sentence 2 contains the full form of CPU, that is Central Processing Unit. Therefore, sentence 2 will come before sentence 1. So, right order would be or sequence would be 2, 1. So, is it clear? So, have you guys written it down? Is it done? I am erasing it. Now, moving on, next approach is time sequence approach. Now, sometimes para-jumbles contain a time sequence, that is, there may be a time indication given either by giving years, dates, or by using time indicating words like before, after, later, when, etc. So, this provides a way for us to identify the correct sequence of the sentences by arranging the sentences using the proper time sequence. Fine? Is it clear? Now, let us take an example. Write it down. Sentence 1. Raj eats his dinner at 8 p.m. sharp. Sentence 2. post homework, he is allowed to watch TV for half an hour. Sentence 3. After that, he does his homework. Now arrange all the 3 sentences. Now let's discuss. So in the above example, the words after and post denote time sequence. Also, sentence 3 and 2 form a mandatory pair. As you can see, in sentence 3, homework is mentioned, and in sentence 2, post homework, which means after doing his homework, he is allowed to watch TV, right? Hence, the correct order is 1, 3, 2. This is the correct sequence. Fine. So, this sequence makes sense. So, after arranging it, the flow of sentences will be Raj eats his dinner at 8 p.m. sharp. After that, he does his homework. Post homework, he is allowed to watch TV for half an hour. Clear? Now, moving on to our next approach, which is structure approach. So, basically, there are certain sequencing words which writers use to join sentences or ideas together and to provide a smooth flow from one idea to the next. It is essential to learn how to spot these words and learn how to use them correctly. So, have you guys written down this example? Let me erase it first. Fine. So, structure approach is further subdivided into cause and effect signal words, support signal words, and contrast signal words. Now, let us discuss them one by one. So, coming to cause and effect signal words. So, basically, look for words or phrases explicitly indicating that one thing causes another or logically determines another. So, words like, I am writing it down. So, words like accordingly, in order to, because, so that, consequently, therefore, given, thus, hence, when, then, and if then, and so on. These words show cause and effect relationship, that is, something must have happened because of which this happens, right? Now, moving on, next is support signal words. So, basically look for words or phrases supporting a given sentence. Sentences containing these words will generally not be the opening sentence. Keep this in mind. These sentences will follow immediately the sentence supported. So, some examples of such words are, let me write it down, furthermore, additionally, also, and, indeed, besides, to, likewise, moreover, and so on. Fine. Now, next is contrast signal words. So, look for words or phrases that indicate a contrast between one idea and another, setting up a reversal of a thought. So, words like nevertheless, nonetheless, on the contrary, notwithstanding, even though, instead of, despite, in spite of, while, in contrast, although, however, etc. So, these words convey contrasting ideas, comma, basically show change in tone or negate what has been said. Fine. So, is it clear? Now, note one very important thing. Sentences that start with support signal words or contrast signal words are almost never introductory sentences. They always refer to activities, or you can say events or people mentioned or introduced in the previous sentences. So, keep this in mind, it is important. So, now moving on, next is linking the sentences. So, linking the sentences helps in finding the logical sequence of events, thus helping in elimination of options. Fine. Now, moving on, we will discuss some more tricks to solve parajumbles. So, the first trick is find the central theme. So, give the parajumble a quick scan to get a feel of what the passage is about. Find out the central theme of the parajumble. So, basically understanding the central theme helps determine the flow of the story, which goes a long way in helping you piece the paragraph together in the right order. Clear? Now, next is look for opening sentence. Questions where no starting sentence is given, first try to find out the opening sentence. Next, look for closing sentence. So, if possible, find the final or last sentence. Now, next is elimination technique. It is very important, keep this in mind. So, if you are running out of time, you can use the elimination technique to arrive at the right option quickly. So, try to find first the opening sentence and the closing sentence. After finding the opening and closing sentences, you can eliminate options which contain the wrong order of the opening and closing sentences. So, in a paragraph, the opening sentence usually starts with the name of a person, place, concept, premise, committee, and establishes a scene or introduces any idea or theme. Fine. So, while identifying the first sentence, keep the following points in mind. It is important, write it down. First, short forms or acronyms are generally not written in first sentence. Second, sentences beginning with pronouns are also avoided in first sentence. Next, examples are also avoided in first sentence. Fine. Now, next, conclusions generally start with words like thus, therefore, hence, in conclusion, etc. and are usually advices, summaries, recommendations or suggestions. Finding the opening and closing sentences makes it easier to connect them with the other options. You can also check the remaining options in the light of the linkage you have found out. Fine. So, is it clear? Now, next is logical pairs. So, look for sentences which make a logical or mandatory pair like noun pronoun. We already discussed it. Next, subject introduction. So, subject and its introduction basically go hand in hand. Hence, they will form a mandatory pair. Next, idea and example. So, ideas always precede the examples. Some parajumbles contain ideas and examples of those ideas. The examples always follow the ideas. So, basically, if any sentence serves as an example, it should be placed after the sentence it is serving as an example. Clear? Let us understand this with the help of an example. So, sentence 1. Like the continental shelf, comma, continental slope and oceanic trenches. Sentence 2. The ocean floor is divided into many parts. So, now arrange it. Tell me the sequence. So, now let us discuss. In the above example, sentence 1 contains examples and sentence 2 introduces an idea. Hence, sentence 2 comes before sentence 1. So, the correct sequence will be 2-1. Fine. Is it clear? So, that is it for today. We will continue further in the next lecture. Thank you.